For those of you who have a very keen eye, notice that in our go next here, we already called the update question. So at this point here, we don't really need, let's go back down there. We don't need to call the update again, because that is just overkill. So get rid of that. Let's see, I think that should be good. Let's see another go next. There we go. So everything looks good now. So just a little thing you may or may not have noticed. Very good. So at this point, everything should be working fine. In fact, I always like to make sure it is still working fine. It's just the developer in me. You should always have that habit. Okay, let's say next. Okay, so it's still working. This is wrong. We're still going forward. Very good. Now, we've done that, so that is helpful. Now the user is just moved forward regardless of their answer, whether it was correct or wrong. So the next thing we're going to do here is we are going to actually save this state. What does that mean? Well, at this point here, if I get out of this application here, right, and come back, I will always go back to number 1. Actually, the question number 0 for that matter, because it all comes in as array list, right? So that's not very helpful. Imagine you're playing your game, this trivia, you decide to stop, everything once you stop playing the game to do other things, because obviously we have lives to live. So, and you want to come back, you can see that the high score is there, everything is great, that's fine. But one thing is true, you always go back to the first question. So it takes you all the way back. That is not a good thing, isn't it? So how do we then save this state in this case so that anytime they come back, it will always let them pick it up where they left off? Let's think for a second here. What can we do to save this state? Well, first of all, we have to think about what is this state that we're trying to save here. Well, the state we're trying to save, at least at this point, is the state of the questions, right? Because we know each question has what we call the current index, right? We've put it together previously, this current question index. And that is what drives everything, right? So if you want to go to the next question, or as you play, it takes you to the next question, which is something we've just added to our app. That means that our current question index, it is the center of our state. With the knowledge that you already know about shared preferences, you can see where I'm going here, right? So we can also save that question index when they leave the application, so that every time they come back, the first question they're going to see is going to be the last question where they left off. Okay, so to do that, there's different ways to do that, of course, but already we have our prefs here. We're going to go to our prefs, and I can go ahead and create another method here, okay? So this other method is going to do pretty much the same things we did before, but it's going to be something different, obviously. So I'm going to say public void. I'm going to set state like that. I'm going to pass int index like that, okay? What do we need to do here? Well, to set the state, very simply, I'm going to say preferences dot edit dot put an integer. In this case is going to be index underscore state, and it's going to be 0 if it's the very first time that they are using this. So let's apply to make sure we're actually saving it. That's it. So when we call set state, we're going to pass the index, which is going to be the current index as they kill this application, this new session. And then so next time they come in, we need to do what? Yes, say public int get state. Right? In this case here, I'm just going to say return preferences dot get int index underscore state, and of course 0 is our default value. That's it. So simply we can come here. So here we have our prefs state already created. We have instantiated and everything. The next thing we need to do here is to save it. When do we save it? Yes, you should know this. We save it at the bottom here when we are leaving our app, right, on stop. So I'm going to come here and say prefs dot set state. I'm going to pass the int. Well, what is this int I'm going to be passing? Well, it's going to be current index like that. Remember, this current index is being created, is being used everywhere in our app, in our main activity class here. That's why we're able to access it inside here as well. If we want to be more clever, we can say this class, that current index. That also works, but just current index as it is right now, it should work as well. So when on pause is called, meaning the user has been interrupted or these activities about to die, to be relieved from the system, we're going to go ahead and save high score as we did before. And also we're going to go ahead and save our current question index. Very good. If this is the case, that means then when we come back, we need to go back and get this state so that we can pass to the current question index and we can show then the question there. Right? So where does that happen? Well, we have to go back to main, because that's the entry point, really. And so in main here, what we're going to do, anywhere here, I can go ahead and say get previous state. That's very important. Well, I'm going to go ahead and say current question is equal to what? Well, prefs.getState. Okay, that's it. So now I'm putting this outside here because now everybody's going to know the moment we come in, it's not going to go ahead and say 0. Well, it will be 0 because that's what we said it to be whenever we create this instantiation there, or rather this instance variable. And on main, when it runs, it's going to go ahead and say, oh, right, current question now is going to be whatever it's coming from our get state, from our prefs. Right? So if it's 0, then it's going to be 0. If there's nothing, it's going to be 0 because that means we're just starting our game. This is the first time we've opened this game that we're running. So either way, we are winning. If actually has a number, let's say we're at question 200, guess what? This current question index is going now to be 100, which then is going to be passed inside here to update the question, right? So it's going to go and get into our array list of questions we've seen before and get that answer for that index. That's it. Let's see if this works. I'm going to save this and run. Of course, at first it should go back just to 0 because there's just 0 inside there. See, like I said, it goes back to 0. That's fine because we've never done this before. We just coded it just now. I'm going to go ahead and do my thing. Go to the next, still working. Go to the next. Keep doing my thing here, folks. Let's see. That's false. Oops, that's false too. And we lost our points there. That's very good. Let's see. That's true. That's true. Okay, we can stop here now. Look what I'm going to do. I'm going to get out of here. Okay, so all of those things are being invoked. Don't stop. I clear. What's going to happen if I run again? Well, I can come here and run the app or even run from here. Doesn't matter. And it looks like something is not right because our state, it's not taking in. Let's go ahead and log here so we can see what's going on. This is good, the lesson for all of us. I'm going to say current question index at this point here, just there. Or let's just say prefs, go directly, that get state. It would have been the same thing, but just to be clear here, let's call this state. All right, let's run this once again just to see what is going on. On create is 0 and we have played. Let's go ahead and play for a bit. Maybe that would help again. There we go. I'm going to go for it's false. Oops. Okay, that's fine. Let's get out of here. And I'm going to run this app again. Let's see. Okay, so it's showing create 0. What's going on here? It looks like it's not saving, which means let's go to our prefs. Ah, there it is, the problem. Look at this. You can tell you also, the beauty here is that whenever a property or something is not being used, it shows here. So in set state, we just say index and we pass 0, which was very, lack of a better word, a little stupid of me. So I apologize. You probably saw this and you said, what is Paulo doing? Anyway, so it happens. All right, pass index there, obviously, because otherwise it's just always going to give you 0. That's why we're having always 0. Makes sense. All right, let me make sure everything is good. Just getting state here. That should be good. Let's save. Let's run again. I think this time things should work. We still have that. It's going to be 0 because, again, well, we haven't done much yet. So I'm going to go ahead and say false. We already know these questions, of course. That's what we're trying to solve here. That's false. It's true. Oops, that was false. Okay, that's true. Next one. That's true. Okay, very good. So I decided that something happens or I got a call or I'm tired of playing this game. I'm going to get rid of it and go somewhere else, Facebook or so. And at some other day or some other time, I come in and want to play again. Let's run this again. Aha, look at that. It's at question 7 now. And every member of the Australian, and look at this. Isn't that great? That's very good. So it tells us already that we stopped at 7, which means the state that we added was 7 that we saved before we left this application. And next time we come in, it will start from there. That's very good. So I can keep going. That is true. That is true. True. That's false. I'm just going to be doing things here. I don't really know. Okay. Sure. That should be false. That's true. Somehow. That's true. Okay. That's false. That's false. Okay, we're 1,000. We should also have beat our highest score. All right, so I'm going to get out of here. Let's go back here, see what's going to happen. Run, we are at 19. And our highest score is 1,000, and we're back to 0. How cool is that? So we've solved that problem here. Of course, we can go back if we want to do so. As everything else that we've created, it's actually working. But this is a way better application now because not only can we do all sort of things that we'll be able to actually fix in this app, we are now able to save a state of the app. In this case, it was a very simple state, but still an important one because it helps with the user retention. Because now they say, okay, I can stop whenever I want and come back 20 years later, and I can still play the game, and it will take me to where we left off last time. All right, good. Again, this app is an application that you can take on your own and do all sort of things to make it even better, right? So in fact, I want you to figure out other ways to make this better, not just visually, but also in terms of how it works. Now, certain things that you may find that are not quite perfect in this application, they may be a little bit complicated at this point, depending on your level of development, but nonetheless, take that as a challenge on yourself, okay? Trying to figure that out and share your results. And if you take this and spin this out, do share with us so I can see and we can all congratulate you for your hard work and all the things that you're doing. Very good. So this was my bonus solution or bonus challenge solution, if you will. And I hope you enjoyed this and I hope you're learning a lot. And thank you for your time. I will see you next time.